Hey everybody, good morning. January 6th, and we are doing another week of the morning devotions through the book of Hosea. And I'm your host, Bo Willett, super stoked to be getting through the Bible. And in no time, we're going to be done with the Word. We're going to be done with the Scriptures, and then we're going to have to do a repeat of it all. So anyway, hope you're doing good. My name is Bo Willett. You can always check out the archives at my YouTube channel at Bo Willett. Just go to YouTube, type in Bo Willett. You can always go to bowillett.com too. I kind of made that website a while back, many years ago, but I've kind of rebranded it just with my name, just so it's easy to remember. So you could always go to just bowillett.com, and there's a kind of a YouTube page there that you can kind of link up and kind of see different YouTube stuff. So anyway, trying to make it easy for people to get to the devotions and be able to check things out. And blessed to be in with my friends. So great having you here with me. Another week of devotions. And so let's do it. It's super fun to read the scriptures and kind of go over what's going to happen, right, this week. So Hosea 5 and 6, it says, "Hear this, you priest. Pay attention, you leaders of Israel." Again, this is Yahweh, the deity, the God of Israel, speaking to actually the religious people of Israel. I mean, that's pretty hardcore, right? Growing up, not in the church, you kind of think that the priests are like, they kind of know what they're doing, or they kind of think they know what they're doing. And you kind of they're like untouchable. That's kind of the sense you get, that they are really close to God. And so it's pay attention, you leaders of Israel. Listen, you members of the royal family, judgment has been handed down to you, for you have led the people into a snare by worshiping the idols of Mizpah and Tabor. You have dug a deep pit to trap them in Acacia Grove. But I will settle you for what you have done. And you know what you are like, O Ephraim. You cannot hide from me, O Israel. You have left me as a prostitute leaves her husband. You have utterly defiled your deeds, won't let you return to your God. You are a prostitute through and through, and you do not know the Lord. Okay, so you don't need to go too far to realize that the Bible is just not this like rah-rah for Israel. That really the Israel people, the Jewish people, the northern tribes, the southern tribes, they are a mess. And the words that the deity says to Israel is pretty hardcore. Again, a lot of people have said things about the Jewish people over the years. But I think sometimes we fail to remember just what Yahweh has said to his own people, right? He says, man, you're like a prostitute. You're like a person who's married, but yet goes and becomes a prostitute, like prostitutes yourself. I mean, that's how hardcore jacked you are. And, and you're going to just be judged, right? You can't hide yourself from me. It's not like I don't see what you're doing. I see all the destructive nature, the influence that you have in other people's lives, and how you've brought other people down as well. This is all things that Yahweh says to his own people. Yeah. Yeah, pretty radical, right? I think if Yahweh were talking today on the planet and he said something like this, I think people would take it as being like almost anti-Jewish. They would look at it and go, man, is this guy anti-Jewish? No, Yahweh's not anti-Jewish at all. It's just Yahweh is very honest in our human condition. And we might take that maybe Yahweh's not for us humans, but yet Yahweh loves us, but he is very honest with us and lets us really have it, And this is kind of the idea that I get this morning right off the bat. is that maybe my judgments to other humans aren't really what's needed. Meaning, I might say the same thing Yahweh does about the Israelites, the Hebrew people. And it might be taken as like something against them as a people group. We might call that anti-Semitism today, right? And you might think of it that way. And maybe it's not my place to be kind of saying things about people groups, me. But Yahweh is the ultimate judge and can say whatever he needs to say to Israel, to Egypt, to Assyria, to Babylon, to whomever, and to us. And so when Jesus says to us, you being evil, know how to give good gifts to your kids, maybe that's just the right assessment. Maybe that might hurt you. It might be something that you go, oh, I don't like that. And the reason you don't like it is because you think very highly of yourself. And that makes you feel good. And that's what you call sometimes being blessed, is just the feeling of being in control or being blessed. And that's kind of what we say, oh, I'm really blessed. And what we're saying is that things are going my way. But really we have to deal with that issue and just go, hey, maybe I am not as good as I think I am. And maybe I need to learn to live with the idea that maybe, just maybe, I need saving. And maybe I need saving through and through. You know, like all kinds of saving, like every part of me saving, you know, not just a little bit, but all of it. And he says, you are a prostitute through and through. He says, the arrogance of Israel testifies against her. Israel and Ephraim will stumble under their load of guilt. Ooh, stumbling over guilt, being burdened by guilt. How many of us in the world are just burdened by guilt, right? And that's what leads us to so many destructive things, is trying to deal with the guiltiness that we have. I think that's a big part of our kind of behavior issues in our life, is maybe we're just loaded with guilt. Maybe that's why the world's so depressed right now. You know, people are so free. We were just having a talk in our family, and someone mentioned how the young culture, women culture, are so bummed out and so depressed. And it's interesting, right? More free than ever. You're more free than ever, almost any other time in human history I could imagine, right? The freedom of women is unbelievable, right? And, I mean, read human history. It's amazing that women have had to fight so long for their freedom, and yet there's an incredible amount of guilt. Yeah, it's like a guilty complex. What is it? You know, is it that they get to do everything and we're all guilty? You know, the more freedom we have, the more we feel the weight of our guilt. Interesting. But it says you cannot hide yourself, right? Yeah, you have left me as a prostitute leaves. That's already read that, verse 3. So it says, the arrogance of Israel testifies against her. Israel and Ephraim will stumble under their load of guilt. Man, you Israelites are going to be stumbling. Judah, too, will fall with them. All of Israel is going to do it. And it says, when they come to their flocks and herds to offer sacrifices to the Lord, they will not find them, because he has withdrawn from them. They have betrayed the honor of the Lord. Bearing children are not his. Now their false religion will devour them along with their wealth. They're going to go their way. Their wealth is just going to eat them up. You know, those rich Hebrews that have all the money, you know, that kind of idea. It's just going to kill them. It's just going to eat them up. It's going to move them away from God. Now this is, again, Yahweh speaking. That's what blows my mind. Yahweh says, yeah, you're going to have a lot of money, but it's just, you know, it's going to devour you. You know, just money devour me. Ugh, such a good thing to think about in the devotion. Sound the alarm, Gibeah. Blow the trumpet of Ramah. It says, raise the battle cry in Beth Aven. Lead into the battle, O warriors of Benjamin. One thing is certain, Israel. On the day of your punishment, you will become a heap of rubble. The leaders of Judah have become like thieves, so I will pour my anger on them like a waterfall. The people of Israel will be crushed and broken by my judgment, because they are determined to worship idols. I will destroy Israel as a moth consumes wool. I will make Judah as weak as rotten wood. Again, if anybody else spoke this way about the land of Israel, the people of Israel, this would be taken probably in a very negative way and probably would get some heat, right? You'd probably get some heat, some backlash from this kind of thing. But this is the God of Israel judging and laying out, what's going to happen. You guys are going to be judged, and, the place is going to be tore apart. And you guys are going to just no longer be in the land. And it says, when Israel and Judah saw how sick they were, Israel turned to Assyria, right? They didn't go to God. They went to Assyria, to the great king there. But he could not help nor cure them. I will be like a lion to Israel, like a strong young lion to Judah. I will tear them to pieces. So when we hear of the Lion of the tribe of Judah being a name for Jesus, from the idea, the book of Revelation title there, the Lion of the tribe of Judah is a title given to Jesus. Man, that's a hardcore title. Lion tears apart. Man, Jesus, man, we have to remember that we're dealing with not only meek and mild and merciful and gracious, but also the judge of the world. That's pretty gnarly. Then I will return to my place until they admit their guilt and turn to me. For as soon as trouble comes, they will earnestly search for me. So notice that Yahweh is seen as a strong lion. Jesus is seen as a strong lion. So you see that relation there, right? And it says that then I will return to my place until they admit their guilt and they turn to me. For as soon as trouble comes, they will earnestly seek me. They're going to seek me, but they're not going to find me. I'm not going to be in my place. The temple's not going to be there. I'm not going to be in that place where they could seek me. It's just not going to be happening. Okay, so let's go to 6 and see how 6 rolls. Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn to pieces. Now he will heal us. Oh, isn't that interesting? God will judge, but he will also what? Heal. Maybe God's, judgment on me is one that is good, that is there for my healing. And maybe I need to be okay with that, just knowing that God really wants to heal something in me. And sometimes, when the healing's going on, there's always pain and there's always discomfort. I have, of course, a separated broken scapula. I have 7 broken ribs that are healing right now. And, but there's a lot of awkwardness and uncomfortableness, and sometimes just flat out some pain along with that healing. But I know healing's taking place, right? So sometimes we just have to realize that healing is taking place, but it's painful. So sometimes when we say we're blessed, what we're saying is that we feel healthy, everything seems to be in control, but God is also working in the midst of the pain and if you will, the dislocation, of us. He's also working in that, in mending bones that are broken, mending emotions that are broken, things like that. And there's ups and downs with that. There's times where you don't feel so good. And so it's okay. You don't have to go to church and just put on this man, I'm great and everything's great and I'm in control of everything and I feel great and everything's great. Where no, sometimes we're not feeling that like we're in the right spot. Like we don't feel like we're positioned well. We don't feel like we're in much control. Things are unpredictable, but yet he is healing us, right? For he has injured us, now he will bandage our wounds. He has injured us. Notice God who does it. What has God done to the Jewish people? He has done it. He's the one who's put them in the positions. He's the one who sent them out of their land. He's the one that told Israel that they would be a byword, that people would make fun of them and joke about them, and they would be a people group that stood out like a sore thumb, so to speak. This is what Yahweh has done, right? And it says, in just a short time he will restore us so that we may live in his presence. Oh, that we might know the Lord. What a great kind of longing. Oh, that we might know the Lord. I mean, may that be my longing today. Oh, that Bo may know the Lord. And it says, let us press on to know him. I love that idea of pressing on. Moving forward, keep going, kind of idea. Don't give up. Press on. He will respond to us as surely as the arrival of the dawn or the coming of the rains in early spring. God is faithful. He'll be there. But God, may I just get up and press on. That 7 times, get back up and keep moving forward. O Israel and Judah, what should I do with you, asked the Lord? For your love vanishes like the morning mist and disappears like dew in the sunlight. I sent my prophets to cut you to pieces, to slaughter you with my words, with judgments as inescapable as light. And there's no doubt you read the books of Isaiah and Jeremiah, and you read about these prophets who their words were cutting to the leadership, the government, and the people of Israel concerning them and the temple and their capital, Jerusalem. Some really, 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 really tough words, no doubt. Again, if anybody else said these things to Israel, I would imagine they would be looked at a little interesting, as in maybe being against the Hebrew nation, when really, again, the harshest words are from their own God. So it says, I want to show love, not offer sacrifices, right? I want you to show love. That's what it is. I want you to show love. I want not offer sacrifices. I want a relationship with you. This is what we mean by when we say in Christianity, God wants a relationship. He doesn't want just your, oh yeah, you went through your confirmation class. Oh yeah, you did your baptism. Oh yeah, you did your, catechism. Oh yeah, you did that. Now you're all good. No. No, God wants a relationship with you. He wants you to be actually in it. Like you kind of dig God, that kind of thing. To know, intimate. The idea of knowing here is one of intimacy. I know my wife. You don't know my wife, but I know my wife. That kind of idea of knowing, right? To really know someone in a personal way, a very special way. And it says, I want you more than burnt offerings, right? But like Adam, you broke my covenant and betrayed my trust. Just like Adam. God, we haven't heard much about Adam in a while, right? Like Adam and Eve. But it says, Gilead is a city of sinners, tracked with footsteps of blood, priests from bands of robbers waiting in ambush for their victims. They murder travelers along the road to Shechem and practice every kind of sin. Yes, I have seen something horrible in Ephraim and Israel. My people are defiled by prostituting themselves with other gods. O Judah, a harvest of punishment is also waiting for you, though I wanted to restore the fortunes of my people. Okay, so God's desire is for restoration. It is to bring them back, but there needs to be a judgment, right? There needs to be that rude awakening that they have left the covenant of Moses. And notice it talks about these leaders just being like predators. Have you ever heard of predators, before? People that are predatorial, that literally just go around looking for people to manipulate and to use. And it can be used for many reasons, right? It could be for intimate reasons, but it could be to gain money and things of that, like that. And there's predatorial companies. Many companies are predatorial. Man, they're looking for ways to get your money. And sometimes that's not such a good way. Maybe it's a very scammy kind of way, right? But this is how the leadership was working within Israel spiritually. And that's really the pull here, is you have, right, prostituted by what? You're going to other gods. So the idea is not so much physical prostitution, though that could have been happening, but the idea is one of they're spiritually prostituting. They're going to other gods. That's the idea in the book. So punishment awaits not only Israel from the north, what was called, Israel proper, but also the southern kingdoms as well as called Judah. So where we get the idea Jewish, maybe Jew, but all of Israel is getting this rude awakening from Yahweh. So, there's always the bad news. And the bad news today is that Bo is a flawed individual and totally deserving of a judgment from a holy God. And I don't want to ignore that fact. I don't want to go, no, I'm greater than, I'm better. There's no way I deserve judgment. And look at me, and I'm great, and I'm so good. I don't want to go that direction because it just makes me blinded to really the flaws that are in me, inherited in me, ones that I've learned over time, things of that nature. And I'm going to have to deal with that, because if I don't deal with that properly, then I'm going to react to everybody in ways of pride, maybe in fear and insecurity. But that's how I'm going to act to everybody. I'm going to try to always puff myself up, make myself look good. I'm not going to reveal anything that's vulnerable with me because I don't want people to see that I have chinks in my own armor as well. So, I'm not going to talk about my stuff or bring anything like that up. It's always in them, never me, right? And then you find that your life is one where you're just moving out of fear. Fear of what? Fear of having to look at you, that you are the problem. Why is my kids the way they are? Why are my, this kind of thing? Maybe, just maybe, it's because of me. And that's tough for a lot of us. Maybe I have had a part to play in it. Maybe not the entire part, but maybe there's a piece of the pie that has to do with me. And that's okay. And bring that to God. God, I need forgiveness for that. Lord, I need to be healed of that. And I see those same behavior patterns still maybe in my life. But I need you to come and do the proper work of judgment and healing in me. And understanding that you are for me and you are for the restoration of me. That kind of idea. That, God is for me. He is safe. He's the place I can run to with all these insecurities and fears and difficulties and, the discontentments that I have in my life, those kind of things. He can do that in me and heal me so I can start being now honest with people. Really, really truthful with them. Man, that is a tough one for sure. Because all of us, we don't want to hear these words. We don't want to hear that, hey, we think we would rather say we would rather God say, hey, you just go sacrifice and you're good to go. That's what we want God to say. Hey, you just go do your Christian thing and you're good to go. And God says, no. No, I want to know you and be involved in all parts of your life. And we go, oh man, really? Like all parts? And all parts means all parts. That means I'm going to have to evaluate all things. Where I live, why I live there, what's my attitude, who I hang out with, why do I hang out with them? Again, what's my attitude? Am I prejudiced towards other people? Am I trying to get away from other people? Why am I trying to get away from other people? What is what I mean? All these different questions now come in. Why? Because God's involved in every part. Yeah, not just your ritual. Man. God is more thorough and thoroughly involved in our life than I ever think we want to be. So very interesting. So what a cool 2 chapters. I'm looking forward to finishing up the book. And you guys have a great day, okay? And take care. Thanks for joining me on the Morning Devo.